Welcome to this postgame media edition of Talking Hoosier Baseball. Today is Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. Last night, the Indiana Hoosiers wrapped up the home portion of their schedule with a thrilling come-from-behind victory over Illinois State. Indiana won the game 12-7. After the game, the media, including IUBase.com's Chris Feeney, caught up with head coach Jeff Mercer and designated hitter and later catcher Matthew Ellis.
Yeah. What was the approach heading into that inning? Did you guys change anything up, or did you just stay staunch?
Well, just try to get the ball in the strike zone, and we were fortunate that they had a tougher time getting the zone. And although they earlier in the game had similar situations where they didn't find the strike zone, we weren't able to capitalize. And you have to continue. It's as a hitting guy, you get to use all 9 innings, whether you score 5 or 7 in the first couple or 5 or 7 in the last couple. You just have to use all 27 outs and continue to have really good at bats. And they had a harder time getting the strike zone late. And when they did, we hit the ball hard and had a chance there. And that's the thing for me that I'm proud of them about is we're in the same situation in the 8th inning of the second game against Minnesota, where you're up by 1, you have the bases loaded and nobody out, and we don't push enough runs across to hang on to that game. They hit the home run in the 9th, right? And so today in the 8th, you had the bases loaded and 1 out, and we're able to go push through, tie it up, and then take the lead and score the 5 runs there afterwards. So, that as a coach makes you very happy and very proud to see them grow and improve and be able to finish the job that they had started. So, yeah, we weren't terrific offensively to start the game, just a little bit sluggish. And, kudos to their guy landing, 2 pitches and doing that, but a little bit sluggish. But, it is, like you said, it's a really resilient group that keep going and keep fighting. And, this place has some magic in it. It was before I was here, but there's some magic in this ballpark, and those guys, capitalize on it again tonight.
You got 53 wins here, though, and you got 97 as a Hoosier coach. Yeah. You just talk about that, coming from Indiana. Yeah. This is your 4th closing day. Yeah. Obviously one of them you didn't know when it was going to be with COVID and the whole thing. Yeah. But 4 years in the books, 97 total, 53 in this ballpark. Yeah. How's it feel?
Yeah, it feels great. The thing for me that it makes me so proud, obviously being from the community, being from here, it's just very different. It's very special when this place raised you and this community raised you, and then you're fortunate enough to be the coach here. And I know everybody loves their program that they're at, and everybody is fortunate, but I'm the luckiest guy on the face of the earth. I really am, and I'm so honored and blessed to be the coach here. It just means so much every day when you show up to coach this team and this program, being from here. And I'm very proud of the kids, their resiliency this year, and the character that they've showing up every single day and continue to compete. And it means so much. Every win's important. Every win's a big deal. But when you were born and raised there, it means that much more. And today, to win your last home game of the season, it's a great blessing.
Obviously, it's pretty easy to see, talking to you a lot this year, that you're a big family man, and this team has really come together down the stretch, kind of like a family of their own. As they've kind of turned around their play as they're heading towards the Big Ten tournament in a couple weeks, what have you seen the most growth-wise from that?
I think just the mental toughness. We've talked a lot about that. To be in a position where you kind of get knocked around a little bit early, play a tough schedule, have some injuries, get knocked around. But then to just be able to pull the nose up and say, like, no, we're not going to go down with this thing. We're going to fight, and we're going to represent Indiana the way it deserves to be represented. That takes great character. It takes great integrity. And that's what I see from them. That's the growth over the course of the season, where you see a group of guys that are proud to play for Indiana and proud to play for each other, and they just won't stop. They just refuse to stop, refuse to quit. And you talk to teams about that. You try to encourage them to do that and set the example as a coaching staff to show up every day to coach as hard as you can, regardless of the score. I think it's important to set the standard every day, that regardless of the situation, that you're expected to compete and to invest and to do everything you can to trust the process and grow them throughout. And they've done that. And so from where we were at one point to where we are now, I think that's probably the growth that I've seen the most. And as a coach, what more can you ask of a group than to do that? You can't ask any more than to show up and be the best that you can every day. At the beginning of the season, every year you ask the team, I don't care where we start at, I don't care where we're in the middle, I just want us to get better every day. I want us to be the best team that we can be in the last month, be playing our best baseball in the last month. However we get there, that's the goal. And we're doing that, and they accomplish that goal. And so we go into Iowa, we control our own destiny, and if we're fortunate enough to go to the Big Ten tournament, we'll control our own destiny again. But the reality is this team has been playing in a conference tournament every single day for the last 6 weeks, the last 5 weeks, every single day. We've played in that environment every day. We played in the hardest environments in the country had to offer in the first month, and we've been playing for our lives every day for the last 5 or 6 weeks. And so, what's going to happen is going to happen. But I know that they're prepared to go and battle. There's no one that's more battle tested than us, and no one's had to fight harder, longer, and has survived better than we have, and it makes you very proud.
Ellis goes 430, 111 off the bat. Everyone knew it was out almost immediately. What was your immediate reaction along with some of the other guys in the dugout?
Well, after watching their center fielder rob about 4 hits today, I was hoping he wouldn't scale the wall like Spider-Man and bring it back. So that was my initial reaction. I didn't say a word until I watched it land in their center fielder turn his chest back to the field without the ball. So my initial reaction was to hope it went over. But after that, just to be really proud of Matt Ellis, because he's a guy that's continued to, when you're a driving force in the offense like he is, and you watch this past weekend, Minnesota made a decision that they were not going to let Matt Ellis beat him. They pitched around him all weekend, and understandably, right? Understandably. So he's been pitched around, he's been pitched backwards, he's been pitched hard in, up, every which way. There are guys that in a lineup get pitched differently, and he's a guy that gets pitched differently. But to watch him continue to work hard every single day, to show up and be a professional every day, and then to come up in that moment and capitalize like that, I love Matt Ellis. He's an incredible human being and an incredible player. And he embodies so much of what we want the program to be about, and I'm proud of coaching. But in that moment, it's the culmination of a ton of work. I mean, that dude has reworked his body, he's reworked his defense, he has completely shaped and reshaped his swing multiple times to get to where it's at. And so you just feel really happy when a great young man who's invested himself completely comes up and has a successful moment like that, and the team's able to capitalize and win in a big way because of what he did. It's just a great feeling because there's nobody that deserves it more than Matt does, and there's nobody I love more than Matt.
We'll take 2 more.
To even get to that point, Stahl and Platt shut the door. Yeah. They had scored, I think, 4 innings in a row.
Yes.
And then it was good to see guys who we had counted on do the right thing.
It's exactly right. David had surgery 1 year ago today. He comes out and pitches today and gets the win, right? Sometimes karma works in a really beautiful way, and David certainly is deserving of that. And then Nate did a really good job bouncing back today. Went in the mix, did a good job, got through. You get the couple shutdowns that you needed. And then Ryan Kraft there at the end. I know we're up by 5, but I mean, we're out. Like, we scripted the game out to cover 9 innings, and we were at 9 innings. And Crafty had 25 pitches to use, and that was the best he's been all year. That was the best stuff he's been. He was 91 with a 76-mile-an-hour curveball. More of what we saw through the fall and the winter, and to see him start to really go again. He's had 3 or 4 really good outings in a row, and that's very exciting to see a couple of those guys trend in the right direction.
Anything else?
Maybe just a little bit about the pitching. I know it's off days. It's days we're not used to. The Thursday, Friday, Saturday setup. What are you thinking about?
I do know this. We're gonna do something a little bit different. We have to finalize. I haven't talked to Iowa yet. We haven't finalized it, but I would like, with the situation that we're in, guys to be on full rest if they can. And so we'll do some things a little bit differently to make sure guys are on full rest, especially going into the tournament. We've some of those pitch counts haven't gotten really high, but they've gotten high a couple times, and I want to make sure those guys stay safe and be healthy going into this weekend and then next on full rest, and we're going to need them to. So we got to finalize it, but we'll do some things a little bit differently this weekend just to make sure those guys are strong as they can be and be able to give us the most pitches they can going into this weekend with the set. So we'll make sure I get out in the morning, but I do feel comfortable saying that from that standpoint.
There in the 8th inning, what did you see when that pitch came in?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a hanging breaking ball. I got a few of them throughout the day today, and I kind of missed them. I think the bat before I just missed one, hit the top side of the ball, and Mercer preaches on the breaking balls. You can see it, just move your eyes under the bottom, and that's what I did there, and it worked out well.
Ball got out in a hurry. You seemed to watch it just a little bit. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big situation. There's been a couple of times where I've come up with those in the last couple of weeks, and really haven't got the capitalize. And just to finally feel, one come through and get that one when we needed it was a really big feeling. It's a big moment. It's a good feeling.
Where you take the team lead in home runs over your teammate Carter Matheson, is there any sort of friendly competition between you two right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we both kind of look at it. We both kind of competing. I think Carter's going to be an amazing player. I think he's the most talented freshman that I've ever played with. It's great to have him on the team just so we can kind of go at it a little bit. I don't think we really talk about it, but in our heads, I think it's always good to have competition, and especially with Carter, he's a super competitive kid, and he's going to be a great player here.
Illinois State goes to the bullpen, was there sort of talks amongst you guys in the on-deck circle and in the dugout that you weren't going to let what happened in the second game in Minnesota happen again tonight?
Yeah, I think once we kind of noticed that they were in the bullpen and it was getting deeper and deeper in the game, and then they bring in the left-hander and Phil has a great at-bat and works a walk, and then we go from there. I think we kind of feel the momentum, trending in our way and in our direction, and Brock beats out that ball. It's a huge bang-bang play that went our way, and we kind of go from there.
4 Big Ten series wins in a row, 3 here, 1 on the road. Well, can you talk about a little about the focus going into the last one? We know we need at least to win. Indiana needs at least to win. And what's the mentality going in? This thing was going off the rails a little bit, It was. And the leadership in that room brought it back. Right. And you've won 4 big series in a row. What's the feeling in the room for this last one?
It's a credit to everybody. We worked hard. We worked harder than anybody, throughout the entire year. We just kind of had some tough breaks in the beginning and stuff didn't go our way. But we kept battling and persevering, and we won 4 of our last Big Ten series, which is impressive. It's just keeping our same routine, keep doing what we do every day, and it'll put us in a good spot in the end. And that's what we're going to do. We're focused. We're more focused than we've ever been now, and it's just one game at a time, and that starts Thursday.
Go.
Good.
I was going to say, reflecting kind of back on the season as a whole now, you transitioned to Indiana this year. It's been seemingly pretty seamless. What's kind of been some of your favorite moments this year as you kind of wrap up your first full season in the script?
That's a good question. It's kind of hard to wrap my head around the whole season in general. Coming in from junior college, it's kind of you kind of think you could do it, but it's a big adjustment. And I think my teammates and coaches made that very easy for me. Looking back on the season and all the moments, I think just showing up to the park every day. I developed some friendships that'll last a lifetime. The home runs and stuff are cool, but just knowing that I have friends that'll last, the rest of my life, I think that's something really cool to take away. And all the things that I've been taught. I've been taught more in this last year than I've been taught in a lifetime. So I credit that to the coaches, the players in the locker room, and everybody here.
This game doesn't impact conference standings, but how does that sort of impact the momentum moving forward into a pivotal
just keep doing what we've been doing. Like I said, the last month and a half or so, last 4 series, I think we've played just as good as anybody, in the conference for sure. So it really doesn't, determine our Big Ten too much, but at the same time, it's good to get a win and then have some momentum going into Iowa.
Coach Mercer just mentioned that you guys have been playing with your backs against the wall essentially for the last 6 weeks of the season. What does that say about you guys as a whole to be able to perform so well under a lot of pressure?
Yeah, it's just how tough they are. Those guys that are kind of banged up and have been battling stuff for the last, few weeks and stuff like that, and they just keep battling, going to work every single day. I think that's really impressive. Look at Phil, he comes back, from a hurt finger, and he steps in and he's just as good as he was before. Bobby's tough as nails, so is Pine. It's just that toughness that we have, and we don't give up, and we're super competitive. And I think that's what they want here in the future, just more competitors each and every day. And I think that's what they're going to have around here.
Take 2 more.
What about just an idea of closing out the season here at the BART? You really had some highlights here. We haven't had a closing day like this in years, honestly, right? Because we didn't know that it was the end of the season the first time. This was just media and family last year. How was it to just close this in front of the fans?
It was awesome. And that's how I mentioned earlier. It was just, all year. It seemed like every game we had the entire year, whether it's at 12 o'clock on a noon start when people thought it was going to be at 7, or it was, a Friday night, when Perkins was on the mound, it was always crowded here. It was always packed, and the home field advantage was real. And I appreciate it. I know everybody in the locker room appreciates it, and especially tonight, in the bottom of the 8th inning, it's 10 o'clock on a weekday, and people are busy. I'm really thankful for it. I know everybody else is, and it's an awesome place to play.
What was the emotion when you're rounding third base and then you can see all the fans cheering?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool to look over my teammates as well, how excited they were. Just, capitalizing on that big situation when we missed a couple opportunities the last couple of weeks, and finally doing it was huge. And I was really happy. I know everybody else was too. And it was just a great moment. Great way to end it here.
That wraps up the media edition. The Hoosiers head to Iowa City, Iowa for the final series of the regular season against the Iowa Hawkeyes. That begins Thursday at 7 p.m.